afternoon. So today we have here with us Matthew and Phyllis from the United States. Where from the United States?
From South Florida, the West Palm Beach area.
Great. And I remember I did the first consultation with you.
See?
How long ago was that?
September.
Almost
September.
over a year.
Over a year.
Over a year.
It was September. Yes.
Yes.
Because we came in for a 10-day class of Portugal tour, and we came.
And
we
met
met
here
that
at
Thursday.
the office?
Thursday in the office. Yes.
Yeah.
That's just.
And a lot of it has been happening since then.
Yes.
That's.
Because without you guys, we wouldn't have our bank account.
We wouldn't have our apartment. We wouldn't have our visa. There's a lot of things we
A
wouldn't
lot has
have.
happened in that year.
Yes.
And what made you make the decision to move to Portugal? Why Portugal?
That's gonna be me. Well, funny thing is that we were looking at places back in 2019 prior to COVID, where we wanted to actually retire to as far as from that. And one of the spots we used to vacation that was in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta. But a friend of mine actually mentioned Portugal to us, at least to me, and I was like, oh, never thought about it. And I was going to do Europe. And it was like, I started watching videos on YouTube and other things. And I was like, this is actually pretty cool. So let's go and visit and see how this works itself out.
Mm-hmm.
So that what kind of led to it, which is kind of funny because that same friend now likes to go to Puerto Vallarta. so it's very interesting as the dynamic change, but that's what led me into looking into Portugal as far as an opportunity. And of course, I like history and the cultures and things to that nature. So that was definitely a plus for us, from that standpoint.
Okay, so let's toast to it. To Portugal. So this is a Douro white wine. Okay, and supposedly it goes very well with codfish and octopus, and it's more winter wine.
Okay.
Okay, hope you enjoy it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's very good.
But we love seafood, so.
Coco frito.
Yes, that was actually one of the questions I was going to make him. Why did you choose Setúbal?
Casa Portuguesa.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm familiar with that company.
Casa Portuguesa is the reason why, because that consultation that we had with you, all of our visit had always been in Lisbon proper area. And in our minds, of course, like a lot of people, we're moving to Lisbon. Lisboa, that's it.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to live. And then as we started to visit neighborhoods and see, and then we came to you guys with our grandiose ideas, of course, like everyone does. And I love the casual reality that you gave us. It was so kind, but very no. And this is why no. So then we had to really go back and be like, okay, let's get out of the vacation mode and where we really want to live mode and see. And we still were not set on going across the river. And we thought we had to be closer to Lisbon across the river, like Seixal, Barreiro. And then, but when we go to those areas, we were like, it doesn't have that feeling of where we wanted to live. And then we ended up in Setúbal, thanks to Casa Portuguesa.
Mm-hmm.
And once we landed in Setúbal for that visit, we were like, that's it. This is our city.
It's funny because when you come to another country, and this is an experience that almost our clients have, is that they go and then they feel, okay, that's it. And it is a feeling. It is a feeling, isn't it?
And then we even took the time to, once we went there the first time, even though we were staying in a hotel in Lisbon, we got familiar with, we already know how to use the metro. So we got to use the Furtadas, and we actually took the train now to see how we could navigate even without a vehicle, without a car, which I have to come back and say, I took your advice. You were right again. You were right again.
Everyone
from last time. Oh, it's great not to have a car, but you're going to get to the point to where you're going to want to have a car.
You know, you get tired of the hires.
You get tired of the hires. You get tired of this, and you're going to want to see things, or you don't want to be on the CP always like sardines.
Carolina.
So we've taken those things to heart, and we've realized over the time that we've been here that is so true.
Yeah.
So.
And plus, it's a little country, but with so many things to see and to visit that when you have a car, you just start and pick the places you want.
And that is so true, because that's what we've done. Like when we first got here, we had a hire, and in that short time, like it was like just 3 weeks, we would go to all these places, and then we had to remind ourselves, oh, what we live here now. We're not vacationing, so we don't have to like check off all these places we need to visit because we live here. But yes, you go there.
What was the most challenging thing about you moving to Portugal?
Traveling to Chile.
It's probably getting a VSF appointment.
Yeah.
I think it was probably our most challenging thing. Because as you know, since I decided to retire, it was I'm working with my schedule as when I'm going to leave work, to selling our property, to when we're going to get the appointment, when we'll get the visa. So there was a lot of moving parts that we had, crate that we were shipping over. So it's all that stuff that was hinged on when do we get the visa, when we get the appointment, trying to get an appointment. And thank God that we were fortunate they opened up Miami as an office for us, which was only an hour and a half from our home.
Oh,
so we didn't have to, so we could just drive down and we could deal with it from that standpoint versus having to go. We were all planning to have to go to DC to actually get our appointment and schedule all of that. So certain things, but it was just getting the appointment because they only had, I think, 2 appointments. I think they said 2 appointments per day. That's all Miami allows to Portugal. So we had to kind of work through those type of things. And then her appointment was one day, mine was the next day. But because we were close, we were far enough away as where we lived that they allowed us to do them both the same day.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so,
that was great.
Yeah, they gave that accommodation because of the distance from Miami to West Palm.
Yes.
So they gave that accommodation.
But I think
we're applying together.
Yeah, but the appointment, I think that was kind of the really just getting that and making sure you have all your paperwork. And, we were good. You guys helped us out. We had everything we needed to have. I think the only hiccup I think we had was your FBI, I think.
But then you never know because I had my FBI, it came back incomplete. Then we had to reapply and then you had to get another appointment. But even that wasn't too bad.
No, we were still able to keep our same timelines and everything else. So
we did get lucky.
Yeah.
Did get lucky. Yeah. But that was the only anxious part of it was the appointments.
Yeah.
That was it.
Everything else just
right.
What about the house? Because I know that you also had a little bit of a challenge in there.
So, you know what? That is still not bad. It's not bad. It is what it is. Construction is what it is, but it's still not bad. Like our apartment, Carla, oh my gosh, I tell you, Carla Casa Portuguese, she has been on it from the time we found that apartment. And her working with them to even show us the apartment because it wasn't ready to be listed. They did that, put it out there, but they don't really want to show it. But she convinced them to let us see it while we're still in town. And we loved it. We're like, okay, that's it. We're putting an offer in before we leave. We did that, got the apartment, and then wanted to do the remodel. And so then Carla, bless her heart, became our project manager for that. And I tell you, we would not be in our apartment the way it is right now without her insistence. Even though we've had hiccups, we wouldn't know how to navigate those hiccups.
Yeah, no.
Like the company that is the challenge right now, and it wasn't even the whole company, it's just one particular store and one particular employee. We wouldn't be able to navigate that. We wouldn't know where to begin and how to even approach the issue, you know, in a way that would get the results that we're receiving, in a way that we are it's not being not recognized. You know, the delays and the inefficiencies have been noted. And so they have recognized that, and they have worked to rectify that as a company. And that's because Carla has stayed on them and made sure. And we would not have known how to do that. Like, it's just a reality. We don't speak the language, and it just, you know, there's certain nuances that we don't know.
And you have to understand the volume of work that was done. So you got to remember, we pretty much gutted the apartment.
Yeah.
So it took all the flooring up, the kitchen, the bathrooms, everything. So it was pretty much redone from scratch. So that's a lot of work. And we got them because we were able to work with Casa Portuguese to get it done before we moved.
But that was a blessing.
That was the blessing. So we weren't really there.
So we're enjoying our apartment.
So we get to
So when you arrived, the apartment was...
We just moved in.
Yeah, we had all our the utility service.
That's
and
another thing.
And all our utilities turned on, and internet set up. I mean, so all those things were already there. Appliances were already delivered as far as from all that standpoint. While we purchased everything prior to, so those were all delivered. So we got there, it was there, refrigerators, you name it. So that was a lifesaver. So it worked out.
So since you arrived, when did you arrive?
A little over 3 months ago.
Yeah,
3 months ago.
Yeah. August. I think it was August.
Yeah.
7th.
That's August 12th.
12th?
Yeah.
So since you arrived, what have you done that impressed you the most here in Portugal?
Probably the food. Probably the food. I mean,
Setúbal has a lot of restaurants.
Yes.
There is not a shortage of places to eat and different foods to try. You can go from Michelin star to traditional Portuguese. It's all there.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Setúbal district, you know, one thing that impressed us, how large the Setúbal district is. We, like everything else, we look at the map and we're like, okay, we live here. and on the map, we're like, oh my gosh, we would love to go to Pamela, but look on the map, Pamela is all the way over there. You know, Pinanova is all the way over there. But now we live here, we watch Casa Pamela from our apartment.
Yes. So
we're always in Pamela, we're always in Pinano, we're always in Comporta.
Montejo,
you know, Alcacer, De Sal,
it's amazing.
We're always in these areas, and that's what amazes us. That as a small country, it is so rich, and your access to so much is like literally right there. So for me, you know, there's like non-endless. If anyone comes to Portugal and says, "Oh, I don't like it. There's nothing for me to do," then I'd have no idea what they're doing.
They were living under a rock. I mean, you have to. I mean, even this past weekend, we went to Setúbal and we went to the castle.
Yeah,
we went out to the park, out to the lighthouse. I mean, we had to. Let's just go. It was a nice day. Hopped in the car.
And we've been to Setúbal before. But
every time you go, it's a new discovery.
Even as close as Pamela is, we would go to like a different road that we've never taken.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. We found another way coming back to going back to the house. It's like, oh,
Azetown.
We love Azetown.
We're always in Azetown.
Yeah, it's like the wineries. Gotta go to the wineries, take the wine tours. We have a nice little cafe that we like that will actually come from the park, and we're like, let's just drive through and see if we're still open. We're early enough. Maybe we can stop and get a cafe and a pastry or something, and it's just fine. We'll just sit out there and just relax. So.
And since you like the food so much, can you name 3 Portuguese dishes in Portuguese?
Bacalhau com nata, choco fritas,
Francesinha.
flechazinha.
That?
Well done. And what is your favorite dish?
Bacalhau com natas.
Good.
I had it yesterday. It's one of my favorites also. Everything that has to do with cod fish I love. But bacalhau com natas. Oh,
That.
this one goes to. I had one of those. Of course, I had it to try before bringing it. So, an excuse. I had one of those with bacalhau com natas yesterday.
It's so delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even like for us, we have the supermarkets. Between Continente, Mercadona, Pelodos. I mean, we just kind of, shouldn't we work our way around to figure out, we know what to get from here, what to get from there. I mean, we'll take the drive up to Montejo, to the Alegre Montejo because it's bigger. Find certain things with other Continente. We shop at Wharton. We just opened a new one around the corner from us. Latchmart. I mean, we pretty much had to figure out what's what, where to go, pick up these things, who's good for this, who's good for that, and that's how we shop. And
Yeah, but that's a good discovery also.
yeah,
Every day we're learning something new.
I forgot to Rocher.
I think you covered them all.
Well, actually, I haven't. We neglect the should. So that's the one we actually neglect, which is probably the closest one to us. But by the wall, it's the biggest one. But we just neglect that one. So I'm willing to buy. I feel ashamed of myself.
And what do you miss the most from United States?
Probably our friends more so.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's not that the physically have to see them all the time, but we have to factor in the time difference. So most of our friends are on the East Coast, so that's a 5-hour time difference. So they're just getting out to do what we have to, what they want to do. We're all the way through halfway through the day already. So that time difference is which is still funny, working on getting the apartment done, dealing with Carla, we had that time difference. So we would tell her, just that's fine if you want to call me at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, because I know your day's starting. If you have a question, we'll be up. Just if you have to, we'll answer. But now we're on the reverse side of that, where we have friends where I'm thinking I want to call somebody, and I'm like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. It's like, well, no, it's only 5:30 in the morning there. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. So those are our biggest things from that. But it's really the friends, just being able to talk to them and that interaction. But we've actually done well where we've made actually a handful of new friends since we've been here already. So we've already had guests at our house. And
really?
Yeah.
Which nationalities?
Albanian and Romanian.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have a cafe in Setúbal that they just opened.
Yeah. So we, as far as and met them through a group, and we actually they invited us the first time to the monthly market in Setúbal that they have once a month. So we actually experienced that already. So, it was like, you get to see, we try to do things that the Portuguese would do. Because if you're here, you want to be a part of the culture, a part of the communities. And that's really, I think, is important. And I think if you don't come here for that reason, I think you're missing out and you're denying yourself a lot of pleasures.
Yes.
So.
And it's the beauty of it. It's to become part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Exactly. I mean, we have a neighbor we just talked to, and I got the whole story behind Benfica since he's a Benfica. So I got that, Sporting going to Manchester, and he's like, yeah, I'm glad he went to Manchester. I'm just like, so, but you start to understand, but those are the kind of conversations that we have with our neighbors as well as people that we know, and it's just the best culture. So that's what you're
looking forward to our first football game.
Yeah.
Do it?
Yeah. We're gonna make it.
And which team do you support?
Well, it have to be Benfica.
It has to be Benfica because otherwise you wouldn't get along with your neighbor.
Exactly.
Benfica.
Yes.
But Setúbal has Victoria.
Yes, Victoria. It's too long.
Yeah. But so with that,
So we would have to show some support there. We got to support the local thing.
That's true. And Vitória de Setúbal has a long history. So.
Yeah, we learned that. We were looking at it to join the club, and we're picking our football team. And I was like, wow, it's been around for quite some time.
Yeah. So we try to investigate and try to understand. It's like I said, you got to understand the history of places that you're living and what's going on. Because like you said, it's part of the culture. So if you're going to be part of the culture, you need to take the time to really understand it.
And what about your neighbors? Do they speak English or you try to speak Portuguese with them?
We try to speak Portuguese. Only one of them speaks English. Everyone else will say we don't speak any English.
Which is good. So you will make an effort to learn Portuguese.
Yeah, we speak Portuguese, our broken Portuguese to them when we see them.
Yeah.
But I know that, we're butchering it, especially when someone responds to us in English or ask, vale English? I was like, okay, I butchered that then.
Yeah.
The fact that you're asking me, I did not do well.
But which is not necessarily a bad thing, because we find that when we talk to people that are Portuguese, they want to practice their English. So they like to speak English to us, and it's like, okay, well, we're trying to speak Portuguese.
Yes.
So we kind of we go back and forth, which is
I
good.
speak Portuguese.
And we'll figure it out. So, which is a good thing. But that's how you meet people. That's how you embrace the culture. It's like when you help me, I can help you. We're all trying to figure this out together. Set up.
And do you feel it hard to find things to do during your day? Do you feel bored?
No.
Or you always have plenty of things to do?
Plenty of things to do.
Yeah.
There's always something to do. And in Setúbal, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, there is something to do. It might not be in your age group. It might not, you might be the youngest person there
Yeah.
during the daytime. But there's always something to do. On the weekends, there's always something to do. And not even just in Setúbal. All of Portugal. From if you want to take the drive up, there's always something to do. There's always an event. Festas are always happening somewhere.
Yeah.
There's always the
Christmas
our Christmas village just opened up.
So we were there already for from the beginning, so which was good.
And everyone has a Christmas village, so you can just tour all the Christmas villages in Portugal.
Yeah.
There's another one in Seixal.
Yeah. So you should just keep going and just tour. See, a lot of things to do because you can spend your entire between now and Christmas just touring different Christmas villages to Portugal.
Yeah.
We've heard about the one in Abidos.
Probably. So yeah.
See,
we're getting there.
You keep learning.
you keep learning every time. They love it.
What about your friends? Are you thinking about inviting them to come?
We've already had 2 guests.
Yes, we've already.
Already?
Yeah, already.
We weren't even quite moved in, and we already had guests.
Yeah.
And then we had family that came a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
And then December, we're going to have more family members coming again. So yeah, everyone wants to come to Portugal to visit us now.
Yeah. So we have to sell.
Okay, we go and now we just have a place to stay and we are going to go and visit. But that's good because then you feel a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to make it too comfortable. We want to stay too long, so we got to make sure it's comfortable enough that I'll give you a week or two.
Then you want to do it.
So, but it's good though. Like I said, at least we've given a lot of people a reason to come that probably wouldn't have come before.
Yeah.
So which is good, and because they always are curious as well. Like you said, the same question: what made you choose Portugal, or why? And it's like, well, you have to see it to understand it. As I can tell you about it. I can give you the high glossy. This is what you're going to find in the travel magazine. But it's different when you actually see it and you actually experience it and talk to the people.
And it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Like when we visited first time, before we came for like a longer visit, we were just here for 4 days and in Lisbon. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, we went from there all the way out to Cascais to Belém. I mean, we were just kind of going all over, and it was like, well, we had no plan. So something.
Our professor will be very proud of us.
Really?
Yes. She's better than me. So
every time I go out somewhere and I understand, I'm like, yes. Or I can read something. I was like, I know what that means.
I know what that means. It's like, oh, I know how to answer the phone better.
I know.
So you've been taking Portuguese classes since when?
What's this? What was it? The third week in August?
Most of August?
Yeah. Is it?
I don't know. It's every Wednesday. That's all I know.
Wednesday.
It's like, I just know it's every Wednesday.
So we're in our second session.
Yeah.
We're not that good.
No, that's not true. She's a lot better than I am. So I will say that it's one thing that I think that it's really hearing, and that you talk to different people and listen to what people pronounce and their enunciation. It makes a difference if they speak fast, they speak slow, as we're learning that certain letters and words get dropped in a conversation. And so now we realize we have to just pick the ones that we know and then kind of put it together that, oh, this is what they're talking about. Oh, okay, where you have 3 words for happy, but it depends upon if it's happy when it comes to Happy New Year or something versus I'm happy. It's like, okay.
So I have one last question for you. What do you think are the most cultural differences between Portugal and the United States?
Just one? The multiple, okay.
You name one and then make names another one.
I think one of the biggest cultural differences is community. The sense of community is very great in Portugal. No matter where you are, even if it's not your community, there's still that sense of community.
Yeah, U.S. used to have that when I grew up, but they've lost it. Everything has been, it's not everybody's in their own little bubble and they don't want to leave their bubble. Versus here, it's like everybody's welcoming. I mean, you don't have to be somebody that I know you, or I know this person next to you. That's why I will talk to you. It's still just come up and greet you, and it's just very, they'll say, bon dia, whatever, walking by. It's nothing, people that you wouldn't think that would say it will speak to you, just in a general kindness. Those are the kind of things that, like, referencing what she's talking about, that you don't have. Now, from my perspective, what's different is that I think Portugal is not as, I want to say, they're not as capitalistic as the United States is. Everything is about, in the U.S. is about acquiring so many things, and it's about the cost and the money they spend on items and stuff to that nature. It's about what you can buy, what you have. Here, it's more about the enjoyment of just, I can afford what I need to afford as far as to feed myself. I mean, I know the housing issue over here is getting a little crazy, just like it is in the States, but use always access to food and the basic necessities, food,
in
healthcare, in culture. Those things are here consistently, where in the U.S. it's not.
And there are no food deserts.
There's no food desert. You could always, we've been out in the middle of nowhere and found a cafe, and I'm like, really? There's nothing out here, but there is one cafe. You will eat if you are hungry or find something to drink. That's not the case in the United States, unfortunately.
I never heard that expression before. Food deserts.
Yes.
Yeah, there's places you can go in the United States where, your closest place to get anything to eat, a grocery store, or just like a cafe, or a little thing would be miles and miles away. You could go for 10, 15, maybe 20 miles before you find anything. Whereas here, it don't make a difference how small that village is. You're gonna find at least one cafe.
At least one. You'll see that delta.
Yes, and even if they are not open, most likely they will say, okay, so you want something to eat, come here, and they will cook something for you.
Yes, those.
There is no, I said there are no food deserts. We are like amazed. We ended up taking a wrong road or something, and like, because there is a cafe. There's nothing else out here.
I see the tractor go by, and I'm like, what? He'll stop at the cafe and the side of the road. I'm like, wow. Like, okay, those are the kind of things that, like you said, those things that we don't see over there. And it's also like
different culture.
Yeah, different cultures. I mean, people sit out in the park with a book or with their dogs, and and they'll just relax and not do anything and just enjoy the day. Where it's not like that in the States. It's totally we want to stay. It's always a rush, and we were bad in the same way. Is that you have everything within your house. You get the biggest house that you can stuff everything that you want to do in there, so you don't have to go out. And it's totally opposite. Where it's like you want to go out. You want to go out to the park. You want to go out and walk. You want to walk to the store. You want to do those kind of things. I mean, we can walk to the supermarket, which is great, to the mercados and stuff. We can walk there. Now, I'm not walking with 4 jugs of water, but but some bags of food. We've done it, and we can walk to it. But in the States, we had to drive to the market every time. You have to get in a car. There's nothing you could walk to like that to get those kind of things. So those are the differences as far as this is definitely.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Was our food.
With the glass of wine with you. I hope you like this.
Yes.
And I wish you very happy life here in Portugal. I hope you keep enjoying it and knowing Portugal and the Portuguese and Portuguese culture even better.
Okay, good plan too.
Oh yeah.